see how this goes. So an integer is just a way of saying a whole number, which is positive or negative. So anything from as negative as you like, so negative 1 million is an integer, all the way through all the negative numbers to 0 is also an integer, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, all the positive ones. Okay, that's what an integer means. It's just a whole number which is positive or negative. And so there's some particular ways that we need to do operations with integers, and so that's what we're going to talk about. Down. Good. So addition and subtraction of integers. Yes, please write this down.
You scroll down and one time you see top.
You know what the good thing is? You can go back and search for these notes, and you'll have access to it later.
It's just hard.
All right. So addition and subtraction of integers. We're talking about. So this particular thing we need to know when we're adding or subtracting directed number. That's another way we talk about it, positive or negative numbers. Right? So when adding a negative number, you subtract the opposite. Which means that if you have a negative number, you make it positive and you subtract that number. So, for example, you have 5 plus minus 3. You are adding a negative. The minus 3 is the negative number. 5 plus minus 3, it goes to just 5 minus 3. And what's 5 minus 3? 2. Right? 5 minus 3 is 2. Right? So you just, when you have adding a negative, you just subtract its opposite. Make the number positive and you subtract it. Alright. So you think about it.
A red pen.
Now on the other side, when you're subtracting a negative number, when you minus a negative, you do the same thing in a way. You say, well, instead of subtracting, you say you add the opposite. So we add the opposite of the negative, which is a positive number. So if you have something like this, 4 minus 3, we change the minus 3 to a positive 3, and then we change the minus to a plus. So it's 4 plus 3. What is 4 plus 3?
6,
7. Good. Alright? So this is very simple. It's just getting this first step of understanding what's happening. When you add a negative, you have to subtract positive of the opposite. And when you're subtracting a negative, you add that positive. Okay, so you change the sign of the number and you change the operating. Switch it from negative to positive to minus. Right, we're going to do some examples after this. But just remember, we can always use a number line. And a number line is a very handy thing. If you're unsure about what's happening when you're doing addition and subtraction, a number line is always a great way to make sure you're thinking about it clearly. When you're subtracting something, when you're minusing, you're moving left along the number line. And I'm just going to move down a touch. They'll still be at the top, don't worry. I'm just getting a number line. You can see this number line at the bottom. When you're subtracting, you're moving back. So let's imagine we're just going to put some values here. That's 0, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3. 1, 2, 3. When you subtract something, you're moving left, becoming more negative. And so we're moving down this way. This is minus. Right? And if you're adding something, you're moving right. That's addition, plus. So plus and minus. Moving up when you're adding things, moving down when you're subtracting. Okay? So make sure that if you ever get into trouble, make sure that you remember these things. Okay, so always remember a number line, and there's different ways. As you get used to this, different ways of thinking about it. You will have your own tricks to do it. Maybe I think about it differently from other people. But for the moment, think about it like this. When you add a negative, you're subtracting its opposite. When you subtract a negative, you're adding its opposite. Okay, so just finish writing this down. A couple of examples. Move down. All right. I'll just leave it there. So let's have a look at these examples. If the temperature rises by 10 degrees and goes down by 8 degrees, how much has the temperature changed by? All right. So if it increases by 10 during the middle of the day and then goes down by 8, say at night, that's right, it's increased by 2. We can all see that. But what's happening with the directed number, with the integers, is this operation. We're saying that it's 10. So the first one is just the number 10, which is the increase. It's gone up by positive 10. And then we could say, well, we've added negative 8. Okay, it's gone down by 8, or we're adding negative 8. But we know that plus minus 8, we're taking away 8, and so it's 2-degree increase. The temperature has changed by 2 degrees. This thing. Alright, so it's just, when we think about it, make sure you understand what's happening with words. Things like temperature, obviously, is when positive and negatives happen. Altitude is another example. If you're going up, Mount Everest is plus 8,000. But there's places on Earth which are negative sea level. Places in Holland which are under sea level. So it just depends, making sure that we understand what this language means. No, that's why the Dutch are very good at building pipes and all that. It's like a ram of sea walls. They're very good at building. So it keeps the ocean out. So they build these big sea walls, and the ocean is higher than where they're living. Yes, they've had in the 50s, there was a big, in the south of Holland, there was a big flood. There was huge McIntyre and a big storm all at once. So there was a massive flood. So they built this amazing system of dams and walls. In the south of Holland, quite amazing what they do. They're famous all around the world. Anywhere you have to build up land or anything to do with sort of earth moving and sea walls and stuff, the Dutch are the people you call them. It's a big company from Holland who come in and do work all over the world. You know the palm tree islands in Dubai? Set of islands that look like a palm tree in the city of Dubai, and that was built by Dutch. That's what we're doing. Okay? So I'm going to move down. Okay, I can always come back. Let's just have a look at these examples, and then we're going to get it. So, 6 plus minus 5. 6 plus minus 5. Alright? So we're adding a negative. So what's going to happen? We have to subtract the positive. So that's going to become 6 minus 5. And of course we know that that's just 1. Okay? So 6 minus 5 is just 1. We're subtracting the positive of negative 5. What about the next one? We've got 4 minus 3. What's going to happen? Yeah, you add the positive of the 3. So you've got 4. We change the sign to plus, and we're adding the 3. So it's 4 plus 3, and obviously that equals 6. Now what about this one? We've got minus 9. So the only difference here is that we're starting with a negative. We've got minus 9 plus minus 4. So what's going to happen here? So minus 9 plus minus 4.
You're going to add.
Firstly, what do we need to change the minus 4 to? Well, we want to change it to its opposite. So what's the opposite of minus 4? Plus 4. So we're going to make it plus 4. So the minus 9 stays the same. So let's leave that. And so we've got a plus. We've changed the 4 to a positive 4. What happens to this sign? Yeah, we're going to make it a negative. So minus 9 minus 4. What's minus 9 minus 4?
Minus 13.
Oh, no. It is minus 13. So think about the number line. You start on negative 9. You move down 4 places. So it's minus 13. Yeah, so negative 13. Think about it. You're going to be starting at minus 9. You're moving down the number line. Okay? And the final one, it is minus 11 plus 5. All right, so this one, again, the minus 11 stays the same. And then the minus 5, we're going to make a positive 5. And the minus has to become a plus. So what's minus 11 plus 5? Good, minus 6. Yeah, remember, think about it. You've got the number line, you start at minus 11. You're moving right. You're moving more positive 5 places. So minus 11 plus 5 equals minus 6. Sorry about that. Okay? Okay, so that's the way that we approach it. You see negative, the first one, whether it's positive or negative, stays the same. What changes is the second, you have to switch its sign and then switch the sign between them. Okay, so we're going to give it a go. I'll try to get through this next bit as well. So look at what questions you have here. We have exercise 1.03. So what this means is questions 1 and 2, I just want you to do the 3 parts, A, C, and E. Okay? And then 3 to 6, just do the third column of questions. And then 9 and 11. I'm sure you can work that out.